Hey guys, it's Courtney from Willow's Bloom, where we intentionally design our life and business with the cosmos. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about the Virgo New Moon happening on September 17th at 25 degrees of Virgo. So if you don't already have your chart, make sure that you guys go to astro.com, natal chart ascendant, or free horoscopes and natal chart ascendant, and type in your birth information. And you want to find 27 degrees of Virgo, and we're basically that's where the moon is going to happen. So we're basically going to watch this video for your rising sign. So your rising sign is going to be the zodiac sign that is on the left hand side of your chart, the very most left hand side, and is going to be on the first house cusp. And so you want to always listen for your rising sign, and your sun sign is okay too. And I don't really recommend listening for anything else. Maybe your moon sign if you want to understand what's going on more emotionally, but I feel like the rising sign is the most accurate. Okay, so what is this new moon about? So anytime we have a new moon, we're talking about a new beginning, planting a seed, right? Well, I kind of feel like this new moon is about giving us a little bit of a break, about giving us a little bit of a tangible benefit, because we have been struggling really hard with the Saturn square Mars phenomenon that's been happening. So whenever Saturn is squaring Mars, it basically means that any action that we take is thwarted or met with difficulties, and things are not moving forward as quickly as we would actually like them to move forward. And so a lot of us can feel stifled, and that makes a lot of sense given the current environment. I think, we've had tons of planets retrograde, and then now that they started to go direct, Mars is going retrograde, and then Mars is squaring Saturn. So it's kind of been like one after another this year of slow movement. So if you feel like your progress isn't exactly where you hoped it would be at the beginning of 2020, then just know that that's normal, and that 2021 things are going to start picking up a lot more. So the good thing about this new moon is that, yes, Mars is still squaring Saturn. Yes, we still have delays and frustrations in some areas of our life. However, this new moon is going to be trining Saturn. So there is a quincunx still going on to Mars. And what that means is that we're still going to have some frustration in some area of our life. However, we're going to karmically be repaid a little bit, just a little, with this new moon trining Saturn. So it's like we're going to have a little bit of relief from the things that we've been working so hard towards. So we're not going to get our final goal, but we're going to make one new major step in the direction that we're looking for. So go ahead and locate your rising sign, and now I'm going to walk you through each of the zodiac signs and what to expect. So for Virgo risings, this is going to be happening in your first house. And whenever there's a new moon happening in your first house, it's really transformative, because the first house is your identity. It's who you are. And so this is going to change you as a person. And you might not see it right away, but you definitely will see it over time. And so you've probably been feeling a little bit frustrated with 8th house things, because that's where Mars is going to be, or where Mars is. And so because there's a quincunx happening between the moon and Mars, you're likely going to feel like there's some part of you that is at odds with this transformation that you're undergoing. There might be some baggage from past lives, if you believe in that, or there might be some insecurities that you have to work through, some debt, some vulnerabilities that you have to address, some shadow work that you have to do. And so those things can kind of come up, get in the way, and be annoying at this time. However, I do see you guys having a breakthrough in some area of your life related to your pleasure, your fun, your creativity, your dating, and even your business. So you have Saturn currently moving through the 5th house, and that has to do with everything that brings us joy. And Saturn is the planet that does not bring us joy. It brings us responsibility. And so for you guys having this transiting your 5th house, it feels kind of heavy. It kind of feels like it puts this dullness over life, the things that you used to enjoy, like traveling, or I don't know, dating and sleeping around, or having children, or whatever. It kind of feels like all of that gets put into a more serious light and feels a little bit less fun because you have more responsibilities associated with it. So you're going to be getting a break in that area of your life. So maybe you get a new business idea, or maybe you go on a date that really works out, or maybe you actually get the opportunity to take a trip somewhere. And so I feel like there are going to be some benefits that come to you through the fifth house. So if you've been wanting to have a kid, for example, maybe now is the time you do get pregnant. There's lots of different ways that can come to fruition for you, but whatever happens is going to alter your life and your personality. So it's going to be something pretty big. I mean, it depends on the rest of your chart, but it's likely going to be something big since it's happening in your first house. And I pulled 2 cards for you. The first card that I pulled was the Four of Cups reversed. And this is really about withdrawing and checking in for alignment. So normally when it's upright, it's about us, reevaluating things. Like this person is being given a cup and they're like, I don't want that cup. You can take that back. But I feel like it's a similar energy reversed, except that instead of reevaluating, external circumstances, it's kind of like reevaluating what you want out of life and where you're going and what brings you joy. And it's interesting because I also pulled the Hanged Woman. And yeah, this to me is indicating that there are going to be some internal shifts that are happening for you. And it's going to ask you to embody a different perspective and maybe go a different direction than you originally thought you would. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out exactly in your life. Maybe it has to do with something, related to the fifth house, like I mentioned, with dating, creativity, business, children, fun. But maybe it's something totally different related to just who you are as a person. But whatever it is, there's going to be a need to, again, like go into isolation and time alone and really rediscover what you're going after and maybe come at it from a different perspective and allow yourself to want something else or to want something in a different way. And so that can always be challenging because I think sometimes we can get really fixed on what we want and, we want this and we want this way. But I feel like this is kind of saying, check your ego at the door, check your expectations at the door, and allow yourself to receive more blessings and more pleasure and more fun in your life without any expectations of what exactly that's going to be. And that can be easier said than done, but sometimes the things that bring us the most joy are things that we never planned. And so I kind of feel like that's what this new moon is about for you. It's kind of giving you a little bit of lightheartedness and fun and joy in your life, but in a new and different way than you've likely experienced before. Okay, up next we have Libra Rising. So we are not going in order. We start off with Virgo Rising. And so Libra, this for you, this new moon is happening in your 12th house of spirituality and isolation and self-undoing. So there can be a lot going on in the 12th house, and I kind of think of it as like this cavern with all these different meanings, and things kind of just get lost in there. And so there's a lot of different ways that you can come out of this new moon. And sometimes when you go into a cavern, it's dark and you don't really even know what is happening, but then you reemerge and you feel different. And that's kind of what I see for this new moon for you guys. Whenever there is a new moon in the 12th house, you might not know what is going on because a lot of the 12th house matters are from past lives and things underneath the surface. And so what I mean by underneath the surface is like subconscious patterns, things that you're living under that are really hard to bring to our awareness, and if not impossible. And so this new moon, what it's doing is kind of giving you a new beginning in that area of your life. But sometimes when we're having a new beginning, we're also having an ending, right? And I feel like that's what I'm seeing for you guys, because I pulled the Wheel of Fortune and the Tower, both reversed. So the Wheel of Fortune reversed is not a good thing. It's often representing, like some kind of failure or loss or hardship or something not working out like you wanted. And the Tower, upright and reversed, always means transformation. But I think when it's reversed, it's a deeper internal transformation, and it's less about your world falling apart and more about you changing inside. And so when I see these reversed, the feeling that I get is that you guys are leaving this period, because I pulled those two cards and then I pulled these two cards. And so what I feel like is that you're leaving this period of time where you maybe experienced a loss, where things didn't work out as you had hoped, and it forced you to undergo a deep internal transformation. And that might be what's happening at this new moon, or it could have happened a little bit before. But I feel like the new moon is actually saying, like, oh, okay, breathe. You just underwent a lot. And now you are having kind of like a surgery inside. And that's what's happening in the 12th house, is like surgery on your soul. And you're starting to recover and having like a new, fresh start from the inside out. And so that actually feels really beautiful, even though it might appear on the outside to be challenging or difficult at times. And I feel like the new focus for you guys is going to be around work and yourselves, work and self-love, because I pulled these two cards. So the Knight of Swords is really telling you to be ambitious and go after exactly what you want. And this might involve working with other people. You currently have Mars in the 7th house. So if you do decide to work with other people or start a new relationship right now, you might have more arguments. And that's probably why I pulled the Queen of Cups, which is more about, reversed, is more about self-love and, like self-acceptance rather than a relationship. Because oftentimes, Mars transiting the 7th house, we might think, oh, okay, like I'm going to be really interested in relationships right now. But when it's retrograde and squaring Saturn in the 7th house, it's not really the best time for relationships. You might actually have more arguments, more disputes, more challenges in your relationships. So I feel like what this is saying is, forget that. Forget trying to find, your soulmate right now, and just focus on yourself. You guys have underwent a lot these last few months, and you likely are undergoing or just underwent a more challenging period of defeat or loss, or things not working out the way you hoped. And so now is your time to rejuvenate and replenish. And that's what I see. And you're going, like, that's what I see you guys doing through your self-love, but then also through your work, and really putting all of your time and energy into that. And the great news is that this new moon is trining Saturn, which is in your 4th house. And normally when I think of the 4th house, I'm thinking your home and your family. So some of you guys might be, settling down somewhere, moving, or having some new beginnings happening in that area of your life. However, I also think of the 4th house as your foundation. And so a lot of you might have had some cracks in your foundation recently. But now through this new moon, you're going to receive new insight, or I guess I shouldn't say insight. I feel more like a gift, like a physical, tangible outcome rather than knowledge in your foundation. So something is going to shift in your foundation in your life, whether it's your physical home, whether it's your family, whether it's how you view your childhood or your childhood traumas, or it could literally be your business, your money, things that you need to support you and keep you stable. So I feel like whatever cracks there were are now going to slightly be filled during this Virgo new moon. And so I like this for you guys, even though it appears that it might be a little bit tougher. And anytime we do have stuff in the 12th house, it can be challenging because we're doing a lot of deep internal work. But again, I think that this is going to be really positive for you guys. Okay, so you may have noticed that there are some changes in my appearance, but that is because I stopped recording this yesterday because my brother walked in. So up next, we have Scorpio Rising. So for you guys, this new moon is happening in your 11th house. And the 11th house is the house of friendships as well as your hopes and wishes. So this new moon is giving you a fresh new breeze in that area of your life. Maybe you're going to have a change in your friendships, a new friendship emerge, a strengthening of an existing friendship. Or maybe you have a new vision or new goal or something new that you're working towards. If you're altruistic and you're involved in humanitarian work, then this could also be something new in that area of your life, especially if you're involved in more like social justice reform. For example, if you are in the Black Lives Matter movement and you're doing something specific for that, then this could be a new beginning in that area of your life. So you are going to have a trine with Mars happening in your 3rd house. So the 3rd house is really our conscious mind. It's where we begin to make sense of the world around us, and The first house is like our identity. The second house are the things that we own and things that we value. And then the third is where we start to expand. It's our local community. It's our early childhood education. It's the things that really go into forming like who you are as a person. So maybe with Saturn moving through here, you've been having more anxiety lately or been having maybe a more negative mindset. And I just want to say that that's totally normal. But this new moon is making a positive angle with Saturn, a trine with Saturn. And so this is going to give you some relief in that area. So if you've been having anxiety, if you've been having doubts about your friendships or doubts about, maybe where your business is going or your career is going or your goals are going, then this is going to provide you that positive support to help you move through that. And then there's going to be a harsher angle made with Mars, which is moving through your 6th house of workplace. So this could be your health, your daily routines, or your work. So there might be something there that is still sort of at odds with what you want to do. So maybe you have this vision for your future, but you still have to go to your daily job and you still have to deal with people you don't really enjoy there, your coworkers, or maybe your health is acting up so you can't necessarily pursue the things that you want to right now. So those are some possibilities. And then I pulled some cards for you guys. And the first card is a little bit scary. So just to warn you, it's the death card. And I don't want you to actually think that you're going to die because you're not. But the death card essentially is saying that there's going to be an ending for you guys. So this new moon could be the newness that's stepping in after there was an ending. Alternatively, they could be happening at the same time. Maybe you feel like you're still going through an ending, and that's really opening up the way for you to work with people. And I pulled the 3 of Pentacles, and I love that this new moon is happening in the area of friendships and connections to your larger community, not your local community. But your local community is supporting this as well with a trine with Saturn. So when I have the 3 of Pentacles, to me, that's saying that this new moon is providing you an opportunity to collaborate with people, to create something of value, to work towards your goals. And this is going to be a beautiful time where I feel like you are going to have the opportunity to offer things to others. With the 6 of Pentacles, you see how she's literally giving gifts to other people. And when I think of the 11th house, that's really what I think of, is you bestowing your gifts on your community, on those who need it, those who maybe can't afford it right now, who are less fortunate. So I would encourage you to think about how you can work with someone else to create something, to give a gift to someone. And if there was an ending, just remember this ending was necessary in order for this new beginning to take place. So I hope that you're okay with that. Endings are never easy, but there's such a natural part of growing and dying. It's the rebirthing process. So I hope that you don't resist the ending and that you fully embrace and accept it. Up next, we have Sagittarius Rising. So for you guys, this new moon is happening in your 10th house of career. So that's pretty clear. You're going to have a new beginning in the area of your career. And this is going to be positively supporting your finances. So this new moon is making a trine to Saturn, which is moving through your 2nd house. So maybe you've been feeling like this need to get serious about your money and figure out like how you want to manage your money, if there's new ways that you can make money. And so this new beginning in your career is again going to support that energy, and they're going to work off of each other. However, it's also making a difficult angle with Mars, which is now in your 5th house. And so when we have Mars in the 5th house, we normally think, okay, I'm going to be so excited to go out and meet with friends and socialize and drink and relax and the pleasures of life. But right now, this is making a challenging angle to Mars. Mars is retrograde. Mars is squaring Saturn. So basically, you're having this new beginning in your career, but then there's a side of you that might be feeling a little bit disillusioned about life and the pleasures of life in general. So you might feel like disappointed that you can't go out and meet with friends and go to a restaurant like normal and feel like a normal human being right now, because 2020 blows in that way. And so I feel like all the energy right now is being directed towards your career and your money and working hard to go after what you want. And then life might feel a little bit less fun these next few months. And so I pulled some cards for you guys, and it's interesting that I pulled this. First I got the Five of Swords, which typically is indicating like a fight with someone. You see these people like walking away from a fight. But actually, I had another card reader read this as what you're willing to fight for, how much work you're willing to put in. And I like that interpretation for you guys because we're specifically talking about your career. So it very much is asking you, what are you willing to do right now? And I think it's important to be serious about it, because I also pulled the Knight of Cups in reverse, which can often indicate that you're kind of in this dreaming mode. The Knight is normally, you going after something that you want, and the Cup is like emotional fulfillment. But it's kind of like you're dreaming of it to fulfill your emotions rather than taking the action at this point. So whenever there's a new moon, we want to start planting the seeds. So my advice to you would be to actually get realistic, sit down and plan. How long is this going to take? What do I want to achieve? And yeah, Mars is retrograde right now, so it might feel like not the best moment in time to take a bunch of action. However, we're still supposed to take one step at a time towards our goals. So I highly recommend that, and really watch what you're focusing on this month, because, whenever we have the Five of Cups, it's really talking about someone who is concentrating so much on what's not working right now in their lives. So this is so important right now. If you're having a new beginning in your career, but you're so focused on the fact that you can't enjoy, the other aspects of life that you normally can, then you're going to feel a resistance to what is going on, to this change. But you have to remember that life occurs in cycles. There are moments in life when we are meant to feel lonely, where we are meant to not have a social life or not be super extroverted and out in the world. Even though your Mars is moving through the fifth house and you might feel the desire for that, you might also feel stifled. And that is a part of this season of your life. And right now you're meant to focus your energy on your career and on your financial stability. And so don't focus too much on what you can't have, what you can't do, what's not working out right now, because this isn't going to help you at all. So I just want you guys to create a plan, to focus on what is important to you right now, and to focus less on what is unavailable to you right now. So up next we have Capricorn Rising. For you, this new moon in Virgo is happening in your 9th house, and it's making a trine to Saturn, which is currently transiting your 1st house. So Saturn transiting your 1st house, which is your chart ruler, is a big deal. It's undergoing a lot of personal change this year. And Saturn is now moving direct at the end of the month. So pretty much right off the back of this new beginning happening in your 9th house, you're also going to be having your moving planet moving forward. So, your chart ruler moving forward. And so essentially what that means is that you're going to be undergoing a deep personal development and change from the inside out. So the 9th house, I see a lot of people with heavy concentration in this area when they're involved in traveling and teaching. And normally that's what I would say, like it's about our beliefs and things like that. But what I get for you guys is that it's more focused on your personal development, because a lot of times when I read charts with people who have the sun there or high concentration of planets there, they will be super interested in personal development. They will be the people reading books, coaching themselves, working on themselves, and trying to discover things out in the world to help discover who they truly are. And since this is making a trine with Saturn in your 1st house, that's exactly what is happening for you guys. You're undergoing this deep inner metamorphosis right now. And when your ruling planet goes direct, it's like things are going to start, I feel like, falling into place for you. I'm not saying it's going to be fast, because again, Mars is still squaring Saturn. It's going to be a slower process. But I feel like when January hits and Mars is going to be no longer squaring Saturn, and it's no longer going to be retracing its steps, it's going to be moving onto new terrain. What that means for you is that I feel like you guys are going to get kind of like the green light for your life. And a lot of this transformation is going to start having maybe more external effects, and you're going to start to see the fruition of it. So right now, I feel like this new moon is about a union of the self and discovering new aspects of yourself, uncovering new parts of who you are, what makes you tick, what you need to feel happy, to to feel secure and to survive. And right now we have Mars in a tough angle with this new moon, and Mars is moving through your fourth house. So you might kind of feel like there is more tension at home, or you might have some old things coming up from the past from your family that you have to deal with, or there might be some like unresolved arguments with family members, or even trauma from childhood and things like that. So those might be the things that you have to work through in order for you to have these changes occur on an internal level. And then I pulled the first card for you was the Eight of Wands reversed, and this means to come back into alignment with yourself. When it's upright, it's like, okay, let's go, let's take action, let's make things happen externally in the world. But this is about the opposite. It's about going within, slowing down, checking in with yourself, and seeing if it feels, whatever you're doing feels in alignment for you. And what's cool is that this card is saying the same thing. So the Two of Cups normally is indicating that there's a relationship, a partner coming in for you. But I don't see it as that. I actually see it as you coming back home to yourself. And yeah, the union of the self. And with Saturn moving through your first house, it's just such a big deal. There's so many changes happening, and I actually don't think you will realize how much change is happening until a while from now. So I feel like this is a new moon to kind of help you integrate these new pieces and maybe even discover some other things that you haven't quite discovered yet about yourself. So my advice for you during this time is I would highly encourage you to spend enough time alone and journal and start to process what you've been through this past year, because you have had Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn all moving through your first house of identity. So these are some of the most transformative planets moving through yourself, who you are. And so I would really love it for you guys to sit down and then journal about, what have I achieved this year? How much have I changed? What have I realized about myself? What have I healed through? And give yourself some more credit for what you've undergone this past year. Because it's been hard for everyone, but it's been especially hard for you, for Capricorn Risings. Okay, so up next we have Aquarius Rising. So Aquarius, for you guys, this new moon is happening in your 8th house. So the 8th house is typically what I look to when I look at trauma, when I look at insecurities, things that are holding us back, our limiting beliefs, things from past lives. So the fact that you're having a new beginning in this area, to me, is really indicating that you're going to have insights about how you have been self-sabotaging, about how you have held yourself back or played small or kept yourself small. So this is actually going to be a really big new moon for you, because it's going to allow you to break free from all the things that have been holding you back, that maybe you haven't even processed fully, that have actually been holding you back. And this new moon is going to make a trine to Saturn in the 12th house, which is why I'm saying a lot of this is going to be things that you haven't actually realized, because the 12th house is everything in our subconscious. It's everything beneath the surface. It's the hidden, even spiritual things. So I feel like that aspect of your life, the subconscious mind, and then the limiting beliefs, those are all going to be bubbling up to the surface, and you're going to start to have realizations about how that is manifesting physically in your life and how you can move forward and make progress by releasing some of those things that are holding you back. And this is actually going to be making a difficult angle with Mars that's moving through your 3rd house. And your 3rd house is really about your conscious mind. So I feel like there's so much that is trying to shed through your unconscious or your subconscious mind, things that are deeply interwoven from past lives. But yet there is still going to be these actual conscious thoughts that are going to come up and possibly get in the way. So those are the things that you really need to work on. You need to work on your active mindset. And one way that I love to do this is by using the thought model tool, which you basically sit down and you write out your circumstances and the thoughts that you had about those circumstances. And then you trace it all the way down to the results. So you ask, okay, this happened, then I had this thought, And because of this thought, I had this feeling. And then because I had this feeling, I took this action. And because I took this action, I got this result. So I think that that is a really great way to be aware of your conscious mind and how it's affecting you. So, just you want to really work with that. And then of course the subconscious mind, you can work on that through hypnosis, through tapping, through NLP, and meditation, working one-on-one with a coach. That's always going to be really helpful. But a lot for you that's going on right now is stuff beneath the surface, really deep healing things. And this is just the beginning of it. So I feel like you're just going to get some insights, some nuggets of wisdom, and then you're meant to take action on it from here on out. And so the reason why I specifically kept saying self-sabotage is because I picked up, some of these cards. A lot of them have to do with having a negative mindset. And this one is specifically the Seven of Swords is about you keeping, is about betrayal. But I feel like this is self-betrayal. It's you sabotaging yourself by, again, keeping yourself small with this Three of Wands. This, this fear, like normally when it's upright, she's going to go out there, tackle the world. But now that it's reversed, she's having doubt. She's looking out in the water. She doesn't know. She's doubting herself about what she can achieve. And with the Nine of Swords reversed, this is basically saying that you've been having a lot of anxiety lately, a lot of things beneath the surface and even the conscious mind that have probably been holding you back. But this is your chance to release that. To release any fears, any inner turmoil, any anxiety, any worry, and use and call upon your strength in order to do so. So I don't think that this is a light new moon for you guys. I think that this is a deep, transformative new moon, and it's going to require you to call on your spiritual practices and again on your strength in order to move through it. And just be conscious of your mind at this time. Be conscious of your thoughts and evaluate where they are, because you don't want that to be getting in the way of this larger healing process. But just know that if it is, that is kind of part of this as well. Okay, and then up next we have Pisces Rising. So if you have a Pisces Rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your 7th house of partnerships, of relationships. So it's possible you could have some new contracts coming in, some new people who are trying to work with you as one-on-one clients. It could be possible that new love life is coming in for you, which is really exciting. Or maybe a new layer of depth to your current relationship, or like a fresh breeze through your current relationship. And this is going to be making a positive angle with Saturn, which is currently in your 11th house of your community. So I definitely think that your larger community, your networking skills is going to help support this new transition, this new change, this new beginning, as well as your hopes and wishes for the future. So maybe if you are starting a new relationship, it's exactly what you've been hoping for. It's exactly in line with that future that you've really been wanting. Or if it's that contract, maybe you really did rely on your networking skills in order to make that new relationship form. But I do see that there is going to be some more like challenges in your financial area. So if you have a Pisces rising, this new moon is making a tough angle to Mars in your 2nd house of finances. And I also pulled the card, the Four of Pentacles, which really indicates saving money, and likely from the idea or the feeling of scarcity and a desire to control the outcome and to control, your life. So that's the only thing that I would really focus on or think about right now as you're moving through this. You might be starting that new relationship, getting those new contracts, but then at the same time, you might have some difficulties, delays, or just like hoarding tendencies with your finances. So take this time to examine your relationship with money. And I think that you will feel really successful in the other areas of your life. With this Two of Wands, it seems like, she has conquered the world. She's up here on the top of the mountain, looking back on everything that she's done well, done right. And so that's kind of what I feel like for you guys. You've been putting in, a lot of energy and into changing this past year. And I think that with this Two of Wands, it's like, it's finally, you're getting some new rewards for all the effort that you've put in. And some of the most important houses in astrology are on these angles, the 1st, the 7th, the 4th, and the 10th. And so for a new moon to happen in the 7th, one of the most important angles in the chart, is really showing that it's kind of it's an important moon for you, and it's going to give you some of those blessings that you've been working so hard for. And so I would say keep it up. Watch your relationship with money. Don't be too stingy. You know, you want to save, but just the right balance of the two. And yeah, just be really mindful of how you think about money right now. And the other thing that I wanted to mention is the second house also has to do with our self-esteem. So you also want to make sure that you have a really strong sense of self as you're going into this new relationship, as you're starting this new contract, starting this new venture. You want to be really certain of who you are and what you have to offer, so that that person that you meet, that thing that's coming into your life, is going to meet you in where you are in a respectful way, in a way that honors you. If you honor yourself, the person or the relationship or the contract that comes in will also honor you. So it's really a time not only to watch out for your relationship with money, but also watch out for your relationship with your own value. So that's going to be really important during this new moon as well for you guys. So up next, we have Aries Rising. So for you guys, this new moon in Virgo is happening in your 6th house of your daily routines, and it's making a trine to Saturn in your 10th house. So I definitely feel like you guys are going to start receiving blessings in your career. If you guys have been showing up to work day after day, working hard, this is going to be your new beginning in that area of your life if you're working for someone else. And then I also feel like, since it's making a trine to Saturn in the 10th, it's also going to forward you along your career path. So maybe not just in this job, but in your overall trajectory, in your overall destiny and fate, it's actually helping you move further along that path towards your greater purpose in the world. So I think it's been it's really good right now to be focusing on your health and how you show up every single day, the decisions that you're making every single day for your life. And I feel like what this new moon is saying is that you're going to be rewarded for the effort that you've been putting into your daily routines, to taking care of your health, to going to bed on time, to showing up for work, and just giving it your all. Because I pulled the 9 of Pentacles, which is amazing. It's somebody who is cultivating and harvesting the fruits of their labor. They have worked so hard for this, and so now they get to finally go home and get to enjoy what they've done. And with the 6 of Wands, this is a card of victory. And so I feel like there is some area of your life where you're going to feel victorious, and I definitely feel like that's coming in for you in the area of your career and your job. So both of those things are a little bit different, but essentially your work in the world, you're going to start getting those advantages from that. This new moon is also going to be making a hard angle with Mars, which is transiting your 1st house of your sense of self. So maybe you've been feeling a little bit strange lately because this is your ruling planet. It's going retrograde. It's been making a square with Saturn. So maybe you feel like you haven't quite made the progress the last few months that you've liked to make. Maybe you made some, but not all the way. And what this new moon is saying, you're going to start making a lot more progress. It's going to be coming in for you a lot faster, which might not happen right now, because oftentimes when we want to see the fruits of a new moon, we have to look at the full moon, which is going to be 6 months from now. There's going to be a full moon in Virgo. So I feel like this is the beginning. This is kind of telling you like what's to come. So basically it's saying, keep putting in that work, keep taking care of your health, keep showing up for yourself every single day, and try your best. And then in 6 months from now, you're going to be like, oh, thank God I did that, because look how much is paying off for me. Just be really careful with this Mars moving through your 1st. You might feel a little bit frustrated right now, but you just be careful not to take on too many things, because I pulled the 2 of Pentacles in reversed. So just because things are not moving right now doesn't mean that you need to keep adding on new things. So if you've been considering like doing other elements, like taking on other work and things to make more progress, adding more to your plate is not necessarily going to make things move faster towards your goal. So I don't know who that message is out there for, but it's out here for someone to make sure that you're really sticking to your priorities. What is your ultimate goal? What success do you want to achieve? And if you're taking things on that might not necessarily be in line with your ultimate goal, then reprioritize, redistribute your time, because that could really lead to overwhelm and feeling like you're way in over your head. Okay, so up next we have Taurus Rising. So if you have a Taurus ascendant, this new moon is going to be happening in your 5th house, and it's going to be making a trine with Saturn, which is in your 9th house. So what I feel like this is for you guys is about creating a sense of confidence. And I pulled the Queen of Wands in reverse, which is just this inner knowing and confidence about exactly who you are and what you're here for. It's about having self-respect and reestablishing your sense of self. And so having a new moon in the 5th house, which is traditionally ruled by Leo, which is the most confident, extroverted, look at me sign, it's basically saying you're going to have a new beginning in the area of your confidence. So if you've been feeling like it's kind of lacking lately, I just want you to go out and explore the world a little bit more. I know it's not the best time for that, so explore in whatever way it's possible for you. So if you can travel, travel. If you can explore and discover new things through the act of learning or through teaching or through anything where you're really getting to know like a new subject or a new place or a new person, I think that is going to add to your confidence a lot, especially because whenever we feel like we have a full grasp on our knowledge, of whatever we're doing or whatever we're sharing with others, it gives us a great deal of confidence. And so having this new moon in the 5th house trining Saturn in the 9th is basically saying it's time to be optimistic. It's time to feel like life is working out in your favor. And it might have been kind of hard lately. You might have felt more isolated because Mars has been moving through your 12th house, and I pulled the Hermit, which is all about, being in isolation. And so having Mars in the 12th, the most challenging part about this new moon for you is that while you might start feeling more confident, there's going to be some other part of you that might feel lonely or might feel isolated, or like your social life isn't exactly where you want it to be necessarily. And this is saying that, one step at a time, but this is going to pass. This moment of loneliness, this moment of withdrawal, this is actually really good for you, because if you can be confident and love yourself and so firm in who you are when you're alone, then you can carry that with you into every social situation that you go into the future. So this time alone, I feel like, is actually good for your soul. It helps you kind of like recalibrate and get focus on your true north, and then bring that confidence and that excitement into your social life, into your friends, into the new things that you discover and the things that you teach the world. Okay, up next we have Gemini Rising. So this new moon is going to be happening in your 4th house, and you are going to be having a trine with Saturn happening in the 8th house. So this is interesting because I pulled some cards for you guys that were really indicating a need to realign with yourself, slow down, and not be impatient. Really be temperance, like really find moderation. So I think with Geminis, it can be quite easy to go to excess. Like we have a desire for things and we want it now. It kind of reminds me of like this Pluto energy of this, almost like this insatiable desire of curiosity about life and about the world. But with this new moon happening in your 4th house, there wants to be a new beginning in your foundation. It could be literally your home and your family and like where you're living, or it could be something like the roots of who you are and part of your personality. And so whatever is happening right now is actually quite a deep change, because there is a trine with Saturn in the 8th house. And the 8th house is always representing things that are quite deep within us, like the baggage and the shadow work that we have to move through in order to attain our goals. And so this new foundation for you is something that is going to be built one brick at a time. And you really have to face the shadows and the things that are coming up for you. And some of those shadows might be your desire to have it all right now, might be this impulsiveness that you're just willing to, just go for the first thing that pops up because you want what you want. And then there might be this other shadow side where you feel like there's too many options, like you don't know what to decide. There's too many things on your plate. And so this is actually what is holding you back from building that foundation of your home. It could be, again, changes literally in your home, changes in your family, or changes to who you are as a person. And so, even with businesses, I feel like the fourth house can indicate laying the financial foundation for your business. And what this is saying to me is that you don't have everything totally clear right now. There are lots of choices for a reason. You're feeling this pressure to act right now and to be impulsive for a reason. This is reversed. And it's challenging you to practice moderation, to practice what is in your best interest for the long run. And it's interesting because having a new moon in the fourth house is saying, okay, let's have a new beginning in the thing that's going to slowly build a foundation for a long-term vision, for a long-term future. The fourth house not only represents like all of our past and our ancestry and our history, but it also represents what we're building towards. And it's just a lot of longevity, a lot of history, and a lot of future wrapped up in this. And so if you're making impulsive decisions, what you can tend to do is not make a choice that's in alignment with that long-term future. So just be really careful during this time that you are really going within. You can see she's moving the cups back and forth and to try to even out the water between them. And water and cups in this tarot and in astrology represents emotions. And so in our intuition, our inner knowing. And so really take this time and kind of sift through your emotions and your intuition in order to create a greater sense of balance and moderation towards your long-term vision and your goals. So if you want something, just know that it takes time. It takes time to build up towards that. And that's exactly what this new moon is saying. The new moon is saying, all right, we're going to get you there. But this is a number 4. The new moon is happening in your fourth house. And in numerology, number 4 is about slow progress. It's about building slowly. And so if you're trying to rush towards the finish line, you're not going to get the thing that you want. You wouldn't rush a building and then try to go live in it, right? You want that to make sure that building is strong, is steady, is stable. And so how you do that is by practicing moderation, by practicing patience, and really reeling in those desires and working through those shadows. Because if you're able to slowly work through the shadows, then you're going to be able to hold onto whatever you can create. If you move quickly and you don't address the negative and the shadows that come up for you, what you do is, even if you can build something quickly, it's going to fall away from you because you won't have the capacity, the energetic capacity to hold it, because you haven't actually moved through the negative things. And so when the negative things come at you, it will break you down and you will lose the thing that you've worked towards. So having patience, practicing your spiritual work, moving through the shadow work is really what's going to eventually get you to that long-term goal. Okay, so up next we have Cancer Rising. So for Cancer Rising, this new moon is going to be happening in your 3rd house of your conscious mind, and it's going to be trining Saturn, which is currently in your 7th house of relationships. So the first thing I thought about with this new moon for you guys was they're going to have a new idea. And that's literally the card that I pulled, was the Page of Swords, which quite literally represents new ideas. So this new moon is going to bring you fresh new insights and ideas in order to creatively tackle any problems you've been having. I think that there could be some problems or delays or hardships right now happening in your career just because Mars is moving through your 10th house of career. This new moon is making an awkward angle to Mars. And so things that might not be moving as fast as you would like them to be moving in your career. And this is saying that you're going to come up with creative new solutions for how to resolve that problem. And it's saying that your relationships are going to help stimulate this. So I would definitely recommend communicating with your partner, communicating with your friends. Sit down and create like a group where you sit and think and talk about things in order to get like that creative new idea to come to the surface. Because I don't think that we do our best thinking alone. We do our best thinking in a group when we can play off of each other's ideas. And so even if you have an idea, bring it up with someone and really hash it out. And then I pulled the Knight of Wands, and it was initially in reverse, but I flipped it upright because I felt called to. And this is about taking inspired action on that new idea. So I truly do believe that this is a blessing for you. This new idea, this new creative solution is meant to come in right now to help you with your career, and you're meant to take inspired action on this. If you have a passion project, if this is something that you're feeling really excited about within, then this is what you're meant to do. You're supposed to move forward on it. So just know that if you continue to feel delays in your career, it might still feel that way, at least until November or even January. So don't worry so much about the outward delays. Focus more on what you can do right now, the action you can take right now, and how you can see these new ideas through to fruition. So that looks really positive for you guys. All right, and last but not least, we have Leo risings. So Leos, this new moon is going to be happening in your second house of your self-worth, your values, your money, your possessions. And it's going to be making a trine with Saturn, which is in your sixth house, which is of your work and your daily routines. And it's going to be making a harsh angle with Mars, which is currently in your ninth house. So what's interesting about this is I feel like this is giving you a rebirth in the area of your self-worth. And the reason I say that is because I pulled the Ace of Cups, which represents our love. And I feel like this is the love that you're giving yourself. And even if a love does come in for you, I do feel like it's because it's matching your existing vibration of love that you already have for yourself. So I feel like maybe lately you've been experiencing some more self-doubt. Mars moving through the ninth is kind of like this judgment reverse, this inner critic. And it's interesting because the ninth house is really where our optimism lies, our belief in life. And with Mars moving retrograde through there, you might have some issues come up around that. You might feel like you're less optimistic than usual, or like you have less hope for the future. And so I feel like what this is saying is, believe in yourself, love yourself, and know that you are absolutely going to make this happen. And a great way to help make this happen, whatever it is you're going after in life, is to turn to Saturn, which is currently moving through your sixth house. So how can you create daily routines and actions that will support you in moving forward towards a more like self-love path? So for example, it's harder to love yourself when you don't take care of your physical body. It's harder to love yourself when you make decisions every day that are not in alignment with who you are on the inside. And so this is really calling all of that to the surface, questioning your self-doubt, saying, why is that here? What can I do to diminish the self-doubt? What are daily actions I can take to live further in alignment with me and cultivate more self-love? It's also possible that this new moon can bring financial beginnings for you, but I feel like the self-love thing is honestly the most important part of this all. If you can really truly value yourself, then the universe is already going to reflect that back onto you with finances, with love, with relationships. And that's why I got this card. This is true emotional fulfillment. So really what we're going after is having that deep, solid core of just undying love for yourself, unconditional love for yourself. And then from there, the universe will then manifest the external reality that matches the internal reality of that. So I don't even want to focus on the money that could possibly come from this new moon. I want to focus on all the self-love that you're growing. And just remember that it takes 6 months for the full moon to come, for the full moon in Virgo to come, which means that it takes 6 months for this seed that's planted now to come to fruition. And so you might not feel all the self-love right off the bat. I mean, you are coming from this period of self-doubt. You are coming from this period of maybe feeling like less hopeful than usual. And so if that's the case, just remember it's going to take some time to work on that relationship with yourself. And then it's going to take some time for the universe to reflect the work that you've done in your external reality. So that is super positive. I'm stoked for you guys. And thank you guys so much for staying tuned. Bye.